Spring is finally here, and what does that mean more than birds and bees fucking and extra lawnmower duties and all that? Why, none other than the great American road trip. Road trips are awesome. American pastime, kind of a whole part of our culture, as a nation. Lots of other countries road trip too. I would love to take a road trip through Australia. You guys are really lucky to have this great big country to go road tripping in. But I don't really know of any other culture who takes road tripping so seriously as Americans. It's just awesome. Hopping on your bike, driving across the country is definitely one of the best things that I've ever done personally. We went on a trip a few years ago. My wife and I went on a trip on this very bike from Washington, D.C. to San Diego, California and back. Took about 10 days getting out there because I've never seen the Grand Canyon before. So I wanted to experience that. We did a number of other things, toured around a bit. And then we did our best to get back as quickly as possible, and so we got back in 4 days, which was just awesome. So we really got the best of both worlds. We got the whole sightseeing, touring around type of thing, and then we got just the hard-ass balls-to-the-wall riding. We went through pretty much every imaginable terrain that you can think of. We rode over the Rockies, we rode through Death Valley, we took the long way down I-10 through Texas, and that was a whole day in itself. And we learned a lot along the way, and so I am going to be talking now about what kind of gear you should think about bringing, different things you should do to your bike to prepare, and what you can expect for your great American road trip. All right, so first off, I'm going to start off by saying that if you guys are thinking, oh, I can't go on a road trip because I don't have the right type of bike, put that totally out of your head. If you think your bike is too old and you can't take it on a trip, put that out of your head. If you think you ride a sports bike and nobody tours on a sports bike, just don't even think that. If you think your bike is too small, like I only have a KZ305 or I only have, a little Eliminator or whatever, don't even consider it. Guys have toured the country on little Chinese 50cc mopeds. Guys have toured the country on Hayabusas. Obviously the big dressed up Harleys and the Goldwings are the most popular, but that's because it's the easiest. If you have a strong back and you want to do it, if you've got the heart and the desire to do it, there's absolutely no reason why you can't tour the country in a Ninja 250 or whatever. Absolutely no reason. Remember also that if you have any doubts at all about your ability as a mechanic, just all you gotta do is bring your cell phone. Join AAA, bring your cell phone if you're in the United States, and you'll be fine. Even if you have a really old bike, you're gonna be just fine. We went out on this bike when it was about 20 years old. I was 21 years old, no problems whatsoever. This was a flawless trip for this bike. But we always had two cell phones, and we weren't AAA members, but I got the numbers of a number of mechanics who I knew back home who would, give us advice as we went through the trip. Alright, so first we're going to talk about what you need to do to your bike to prepare for the trip. First off, remember that highway riding is really easy on your bike, especially on your engine, with just the very steady RPMs going all day long. It's a lot easier on your bike than city driving. So there's no reason why a trip should put any more wear or tear on your bike. If you don't think that you have any maintenance plan for the next, 5,000 or 6,000 miles for your bike now as you ride it around your home, then the same should hold true for the highway. It's not going to put really any significantly more wear or tear or different, different types of strain on your bike. So really the only thing that you need to think about before you set off on your trip is, A, how long is my trip? Let's say, across the United States and back 6,000 miles. What am I going to do in those next 6,000 miles? Well, obviously you have 2 oil changes. So you're going to want to change your oil before you leave, and then when you get to your 3,000 mile mark, or wherever you guys, change your oil, whatever your interim is. You got to think about the condition of your tires. Most tires really are worth like maybe 10 to 15,000 miles or whatever. So if you've got like half-life tires, then you want to think like, am I going to want to replace these now? Do I want to replace them when I get there, or are they going to make the whole trip? You really want good tires. You don't know what kind of terrain you're going to run into or what kind of weather or whatnot. So tires are definitely important. I'd say just give a good fluid flush of all your different fluids. If you've got a secondary gearbox like I do, or a differential, change that fluid. Change your coolant. You can flush out your brake lines, get them all good and clean, and everything. And just sort of, get the bike ready to go, You really don't have to do anything bigger than that, I wouldn't necessarily pack your bearings. If you want to, you can. I wouldn't necessarily pack them or change them out. I'd say inspect the brake pads, but you don't have to put new ones on. You can do all this in an afternoon. That really doesn't require any more serious modifications. And if that's how you want to ride, then get on and go. That's really all you really need to do. There are a lot of add-ons you can put on your bike to make the ride more comfortable, and this will depend on your budget and your preference and everything, so we're going to go over some of those now. But as far as making sure that your bike is going to get there and back, really just very regular routine maintenance is all that's required. First really cool aftermarket thing you can have on your trip is a little windshield like this. There are 2 types of windshields. This is just your regular standard windshield, and it clips onto your handlebars, so it moves as you steer. This one is advantageous because they're cheap, they're small, it's not like a great big fairing. You can see through them pretty well, and I like this one. I think it's a good height because I can still get the wind in my face if I want to, or if it's raining or whatever, I can duck down behind it and my face will stay pretty dry. These windshields are good because it's going to reduce rider fatigue from all that wind hitting you all the time and you having to keep yourself up. You're going to be a lot less tired by the end of the day. So if you don't normally ride with a windshield, then I would suggest looking into it. So this is the other style of windshield. Obviously it's fallen victim to some of my eBay habits. But it's all mostly there and you guys can see what it is. This one is off a Goldwing. Vetter makes a similar one, and they all have these really universal mounts for a lot of different types of bikes. This one will bolt right onto the frame of the bike, so your handlebars are in here and they rotate back and forth. This one is good because it's good, both better and worse for wind control. It's better because it keeps more wind off of you. If you get a big gust, it's not going to jerk the handlebars out of your hands or anything like the other one might. However, it does kind of sort of act like a sail for crosswinds, so it might actually push the bike around a little bit. But most riders find that it's a very stable fairing, and that's why they're so popular. They're also popular because they have a bunch of amenities here. You can see that you can put a radio in it. Whoops. And there's the speakers right there, and so you can listen to music. It's got these little vents down there that can, direct wind up into your face. You can add lights for, switches and all kinds of things. Switches for your, running lights or whatever. You can put a little cigarette outlet here, so you can charge your phone up. We're going to get into talking about gear in a little while, but you know, having a phone on the road is awesome, and so a little way to charge it up is cool. So they've got all these little amenities. You know, sometimes they come with little lock boxes that you can, there's other side's got a lock box where you can hide your stuff. So, you know, just make the decision on based on what bike you ride and what you prefer to do with it. Putting on some aftermarket highway bars, if your bike doesn't have them, is pretty key too. I didn't have these when I went on my trip, but I kind of wish I did, because just to go up like this and to be able to rest your leg up like this and then be able to go down again is really, really cool. You know, I used to put my leg all the way up on here on the radiator just to stretch it out, because you know, after 8 or 10 hours on the road you get really stiff. Think about some deer whistles, because even though you might not have deer in your area, you might be going through an area that does have deer. And so since you aren't really familiar with their patterns or where they like to hang out or whatever, it's always a good precaution. Storage is pretty key. I've got these 2 saddlebags here that I've had since then. They're soft bags, which are collapsible, which is cool. And they weren't near enough for the 2 of us. We had a great big hiking backpack strapped to the back here where the Sissy bar used to be, and we had a magnetic bag. You can look into all these things and find out what works for you. A magnetic tank bag was awesome. We kept our camel pack in there so we could each, you know, drink some cool water on the road. We kept our map in there. It had this transparent cover on it. We kept all our wallets and cell phone and keys and medicine and like all the really important stuff in it. And that way, whenever we went to a restaurant or went out somewhere or whatever, we just grab it off the bike and go. Pretty much everything else was expendable except what we kept in that bag, so that was really cool. I got a Sissy bar when we went on our trip. You can still see the holes that I drilled for it, and it just slid right down in there and bolted up. This was pretty key because if you're going to have a rider on the back, that rider is going to fatigue a lot quicker than you are, because you're paying attention, you're driving, you're constantly getting this, you know, this input into your brain, but they're just sitting there watching and they sort of zone out. So I put that there so that my wife could just sort of lean back and be more comfortable. Another thing I got for her comfort is this. We actually had it made. This is a seat pan from another one of these Maduras, and we had this stuffed with that Dr. Scholl's gel insert stuff, you know, like the type of gel that they use, and it was elongated. You can see it's actually a little bit wider because how am I going to say this? My wife required additional support to support her entire self, I guess is the way to put it. Anyway, this was a lot better. She could fit her entire self onto it rather than this, which is actually really hard, and it's been compared to a lead pipe. So, you know, think about these types of things if you're bringing somebody on the back. This is not something that you might think about, but a really, really, really important thing to bring are spare handlebars. You can put your bike down in gravel and it slips out from underneath you. You can slide over in some mud, you know, you can wake up one day and find that somebody kicked your bike over, you know, and if you've broken your handlebar off here on your brake or especially your clutch, you might not be able to get out of wherever you are. So, I mean, go on eBay, get yourself some spare handlebars. It's a really, really great idea. Another cool thing we had was a throttle lock. That's basically just this little clamp here, and when you pull your throttle like this, you can lock it. This one's getting a little stiff. You can lock it and it will not snap back. That's cool if you need to get something, you know, out of your saddlebags, or if you want to scratch your leg or whatever, you know, you can keep the bike going. It's sort of like a cruise control. So as far as gear to bring with you, that's all going to depend. If you've got the original toolbox on your bike, that's awesome. If not, you can make yourself a little toolbox with common socket sizes that are found on your bike, an extension, a wrench. I've got another video up of what I carry in my saddlebags, and a lot of it's the same. Spare fuses, spare light bulbs. These little plastic bungee wraps are always good. Some rope, really good idea to bring, just a little length of rope. Let's see, yeah, we've got light bulbs and fuses in here. My bike takes inner tubes, so we brought a front and a rear inner tube. Thankfully, we never had to use it. But if you're going to do that, you should also bring some, you know, some tire removal tools. You know, one of those, a little hammer and one of those tire tongues or whatever you call them, which are an enormous pain in the ass. This is what one of them looks like. Huge pain in the ass, but if you are in an emergency and you need to change out an inner tube, this will do. If you've got tubeless tires, you can just bring a plug kit, and remember that a plug kit is only a temporary fix for a motorcycle, and you would never use that fix-a-flat spray stuff. You can put a plug in, pump your tire back up, and then get it to a shop where you can replace the tire. Because you definitely don't want to blow out, and that fix-a-flat stuff will cause your wheel to go out of balance, regardless of how hard you try to evenly distribute it. So, you know, that's how you can prevent against tire failure. There are a couple of different types of pumps that you can buy. We brought this type, which was actually kind of cool. It was like a hose that's screwed into, I take out one of the spark plugs, I screw, you know, an adapter in and a hose, kind of like a compression tester hoser, but it had a long hose, and it had two check valves. So the vacuum of the engine would suck air in, and then it would spit it back out through the check valve. So I wasn't getting gas mixed air into my tires, but it was just like a little pump, and on the end of it was a little chuck for filling up tires. So that was really cool. I don't have it to show you because my stupid friend lost it on his way back from Alaska. A repair manual is an awesome thing to have, especially if you do your own repairs, you know, but regardless, a repair manual. Alright, so you're obviously going to want to bring your medicine cabinet with you if you have any prescription medicine, don't forget that. But Tylenol, acetaminophen was really key, especially for you know, those muscles after those long days. Bring some allergy medicine, because you're going to come across allergens on the other side of the country that you're not accustomed to. So we got in here, B vitamins are a really good idea, especially, you know, if you get tired or whatever. Probably B vitamins and staying hydrated are the best protection against fatigue. I would not encourage you to use caffeine pills or diet pills or whatever to stay awake. If you need them, then it's time to stop and take a break. So don't really bring those along. Simple, you know, first aid stuff. You can bring some bandages if you want, some you know, band-aids and stuff. What else? Like something like Bengay or this Walmart brand. It's really good for your muscles, especially for your older folks. You know, other just, you know, random stuff that you're probably going to want. Hard candies were really good for us for staying awake. And just sort of, you know, staying interested and keeping our minds off of the endless droning of the motor. Gum and hard candy, stuff like that. So, you know, whatever you need in your daily life, you should definitely pack with you. As far as clothing, layers are better than anything real thick. Especially if you go in the summertime, you're really only going to need a couple layers, you know, once you get up into the upper elevations. So it's a good idea to bring layers, you know, light t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, stuff like that. Probably the most important thing, in my opinion, are underwear and socks, because I can wear a t-shirt or a pair of jeans for a week and it won't even bother me. But if I have dirty underwear or dirty socks, then that does bother me, you know, and you don't want to develop any kind of foot fungus or anything. So, you know, pack for what you know that you're going to need. Also bring your normal safety gear, you know, riding jacket and helmet and gloves and everything, you know, just stuff that you would use, you know, in your daily riding. Also rain gear. I've got a nice jacket and squam under there, so bring some rain gear in case it rains. Next, I'll encourage you to do your homework. You know, just look up how far you're going, how long it's going to take, where you want to stop. You know, if you're the type of person to go into and you want to do hotels, you know, get hotel reservations along the way. And also think about like what parts of the country you're going to be traveling through. For example, take a look at this picture. That's a picture of me not really able to enjoy the beautiful picturesque mountains because I am desperately trying to figure out why my bike wasn't running right. Took it all apart, put it back together, blah blah, what's going on here? Turns out that I hadn't realized that we had risen up to 7,500 feet and the thinner air was causing my bike to run rich. And so we got through it without having to stop and rejet or whatever. But it was definitely a confusing, I don't know, day or so where I was like, what the hell is wrong with this motorcycle? You know, it just turns out that we're in higher elevation, which I hadn't realized. So, you know, prepare for stuff like that. If you're gonna be, like, let's say, riding through, you know, the panhandle of Oklahoma, you know, during tornado season, well, that's something to think about, you know. So just plan your trip and do your research and do your homework. You know, you can bring a GPS with you if you want, or if you just have an iPhone, that's okay too, you know, whatever. But just, you know, get ahead on where you're going and what you're likely to find when you get there. Two awesome books to bring with you. Obviously, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, awesome book. But also Jupiter's Travels by Ted Simon. This guy rode a Triumph all the way around the world. So this is an awesome read. Probably one of my favorite pieces of travel writing. Really good book. I highly recommend it. So yeah, I've rambled on enough. Not much more else to say. I'm sure some people are going to chime in with what they brought on their trips, and I'll be happy to annotate it. But really, last thing, I mean, just go and do it, man. You know, just go and do it. Take that time off of work, you know, or use your summer vacation from school or whatever, and just go do it, because the longer you put it off, the more likely it's never going to happen. And it was definitely one of the best things that I ever did. You know, I did it with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and later, you know, we obviously got married, but we both decided that if we could get through this trip without killing each other, we could get through anything that a marriage can put through, you know, put in front of us. So it was just a wonderful experience for us, and not many people get to do something like this, you know. And I mean, if you have the time and you have the potential to put it together, then just do it, you know. Just go do it.